When people talk about watchdogs, the conversation usually revolves around hacking, Aiden Pearce, or the thrill of manipulating Chicago's infrastructure. But there's a much subtler layer to the game that often gets overlooked: how the city itself, the NPCs, and their behavior silently comment on the social fabric of a hyper-connected world. Today, I want to explore that. Walking through Chicago in Watch Dogs, you're bombarded with the feeling that someone or something is always watching. Cameras, phones, and traffic lights are not just gameplay mechanics, they're storytelling tools. Every surveillance device scattered throughout the city contributes to a pervasive sense of tension. But what really gives the game its unique voice is how NPCs interact with this environment. Pedestrians are not just decoration. They respond to events in ways that are often subtle but incredibly telling. Someone might glance around nervously after a gunshot, or stop texting to stare at a police chase. These micro-interactions are a mirror to real-life urban behavior, and they highlight a psychological landscape shaped by constant observation. The NPC design in Watch Dogs does more than react. It communicates. Each person feels like they have their own digital footprint, much like we do in real life. You can pull up personal information about them through your profiler, and suddenly their simple actions, walking a dog, waiting at a crosswalk, acquire a layer of narrative significance. This mechanic transforms the city from a static backdrop into a living social experiment. You begin to realize that Watch Dogs isn't just about hacking machines. It's about hacking human perception and social norms. The city becomes a petri dish where digital surveillance and human behavior collide. One of the most overlooked aspects is how the game portrays social anxiety. NPCs often move in patterns that feel natural but subtly constrained, like they're aware of being observed. This mirrors studies in urban sociology, where people modify their behavior in highly surveilled spaces. Even the random events, like someone calling the police on a minor crime or fleeing when you engage in mischief, reflect the idea that society polices itself when the eyes of authority or the network are omnipresent. The game doesn't need to spell this out. It shows it through gameplay and city life, which makes the commentary far more immersive than any cutscene could. Another layer comes from environmental storytelling. Billboard ads, digital screens, and news reports aren't just flavor. They often reference data privacy, corporate overreach, or social unrest. The game subtly draws parallels between in-game technology and the real-world implications of surveillance. Even graffiti and background conversations tell a story about a city balancing between freedom and control. When Aiden hacks these systems, he's not just playing with tools. He's engaging in a dialogue with the city's social contract, disrupting a digital ecosystem that mirrors our own. Then, there's the emotional resonance. The developers understood that surveillance isn't just about fear, it's about human connection under tension. Certain NPCs express curiosity, fear, or suspicion depending on your actions, making you realize that a city under constant monitoring doesn't just change laws or behavior, it changes relationships. Friendships, mistrust, and even casual encounters are colored by the digital eyes everywhere. This layer makes Watch Dogs unique, because most open-world games focus on physical threats or action set pieces, whereas Watch Dogs emphasizes psychological dynamics in a digital ecosystem. What's truly brilliant is how these design choices encourage players to reflect on their own reality. The discomfort you feel while tailing a person, hacking their phone, or triggering chaos isn't accidental. The game forces you to consider the ethical implications of surveillance technology, and it does so without being preachy. By embedding this reflection into NPC behavior, environmental cues, and digital infrastructure. Watch Dogs becomes a commentary on our own cities, where data and observation are inescapable. Ultimately, if you want to understand why Watch Dogs still resonates years after its release, you have to look beyond hacking and action. You have to pay attention to the world building, the nuanced NPC behavior, and the way the city itself communicates. Watch Dogs isn't just a game about controlling technology. It's a game about controlling, and being controlled by, the social fabric of a networked society. It's a reminder that behind every screen, camera, or app, there's a human element. And the tension between privacy, freedom, and observation is not just in-game. It's in our everyday lives. So next time you play, don't just hack systems.